Okay, fellas, I'm back with a new video. I'm gonna be showing you or giving you tips rather on naming basically anything in your comic or storyboard or whatever you want to call it. You know, and we're gonna get down to it, get down to the basics. So first of all, you have to think of two things when you want to name basically anything in your story. So you got to think of the cultural and traditional aspect. Then you just got to think about the modern aspect as well. The modern in the sense of you got the popular names that a lot of people know. You got the scientific names that a lot of people, well, not everyone knows obviously, but you could search that out. And let me just write this down here real quick. For the traditional culture as basically meaning, and I'll get down to it. And modern is just more English. That's keeping it basic enough for like anyone to know. Like if you want to call, let's say, a building, you could just be like, oh, it's the Queen's Tower, something as simple as that. But when you go to the traditional, you gotta come up with something more technical. And that depends on what culture you want to call that from, from any part. And I think you should really do your research. That is what I do. That's how I basically name my characters. For instance, my main character, Elijah Anvil. The Anvil stems from a more traditional and cultural meaning, which means strong. So you could go online, hit Google. You know how it is. Blood. Hit Google, fellas. Search it up. Anything. Even look, I've searched up Hebrew names as well and meaning, and it will pop up. There are loads of websites you could get. You could even see a website for baby names and for female and males. So go ahead and yeah, just search it up. Scout the area. Until you find something, or you could specifically type it in, the cultural or the cultural name you're looking for, or the meaning. For instance, you could just go in and be different Hebrew names for speed. Different. You could say different Asian names for, not really Asian, but obviously you have to be specific. And you basically get the idea of what I'm saying. Or even if you from any part of the world, is that any part, any tribe, any culture, just go ahead. If you can find it, and you can't, be it German, French, any of it. And then the modern, obviously, is the really basic ones. You could come up with the one people are mostly familiar with. And obviously, if you're naming your character, you gotta think of the personality. There are a lot of things you could consider. You could, if you want to make it unique, sometimes you could think about the powers, the ability. Like for instance, fire. Then you could go on and find the meanings for or the different kind of names you want to call fire, and boom, like, oh, you've called your man. You've given him a dazzling name, a unique, saucy name. And more time, you got a ring to it. And then eventually you could just hint it in your story and be like, oh, my name means, like blazer or something really bright, And it's all part of it. So part of it, that's basically how I named most of my characters. A lot of them have meanings to the names. I'm not saying you should obviously do. It depends on what you want to do in it. Because I ended up mixing it up. So I would give him a more cultural style name, then I'll just throw in a basic modern name to just make it sound balanced. Just make it sound balanced. Like my weather character is basically Ethan Gale. And from the meaning of girl, you call someone that's manipulates the weather and all that. So it's all there. Just do your research.